The Martians. Chapter 12. Watney, this is Lewis. Everything is at the airlock. We are going to bury the RTG and return. We'll message if problems. None expected. Rover seems to be fine, except some fool ripped the back seats out of it. Copy. Lewis, Abernathy and Washburn outbound on Rover. See ya soon, Commander. Drive safe and don't put a scratch on my ride. I'll notice if you do. Over. Copy that. We will get it washed and waxed while we are out. Rover 1, out. Mark took his headset off, switched the comm speaker on, sat down and watched the rover as it drove away. It would never be out of sight. It was only going 4 kilometers, and if it broke down his fellow astronauts could walk back in a few minutes. All were happy to get out and do something, but he and Mindy were still in Orion 3. Watney because Dana had not cleared him for duty yet, though tomorrow would be the 5th day since their arrival, so he expected to be, and Mindy as she was technically not cleared for Eva yet. She was ready as anyone could be, but Missy wanted her to have an experienced partner her first few trips out, and Missy was busy watching out for her doctor and pilot. Mindy would have to wait until Watney could be partner to her. Although the doctor and pilot were both certified by NASA, Lewis and Watney each had more EVA time than all of NASA combined probably, and she treated all others like they were complete N00BZ until she was satisfied they knew what they were doing. As he sat on his bunk watching the rover through the observation port and staring at the beautiful and ugly desolation that was Mars, Mindy came up the steps to join him. The steps were almost a ladder set vertically, and it folded into a wall when Orion 3 was flying, but was easy enough to climb. "Hey, can I join you?" she asked. "Sure, you bored too?" "Yeah. It's beautiful, isn't it? Our first full day here, I sat here most of the day, watching for you to come. It was almost nightfall when you did. After you have been here a year, it's ugly. Trust me on this. But you know, everywhere between Ars 3 and here, Missy and I were the first to see it. Kinda amazing when you think about it. Well, Anna was the first to see here. Dana and I were in our seats, silently screaming in our heads, hoping and praying we wouldn't die." Mindy smiled. "Ha. Sounds like a ride in an MDV. I hated that. Just, pure unadulterated hated it. Every time the landing thrusters kicked in I thought the ship was exploding." "Mark, can we talk for a second?" "We are talking, Mindy." "Ah, right, I meant about us. Look, I know before isolation we said we would talk when you got back, but a lot has changed. Well, I don't know how you feel, and I know with the depression and all you might not feel anything, but, well, we're going to be together for the next year either here or on the Hermes, and, do you still want to have that talk when we get back? I mean, we didn't talk for a long time, and if not, I understand. I'm not some schoolgirl with a crush hoping to get shipped as they used to say, but Mindy, every day on the flight to Mars, and every day with the crew at Ars 3, and every day on the drive to here, and for the last 5 days, thinking of you has kept me alive. I'm looking forward to that talk and hoping against hope that you still had something in your heart for me. We didn't talk because, other than your phone number and address, I had no way to reach you. Turns out there is no Department of Hipsters and I had no phone, and, well, our mail service here is sort of slow. I think the postman drinks. Well, look, I adore Missy, and respect her. She says no romance and I'm going to follow that order. I told you I worked at Sitcom. Department of Hipsters. I didn't know about Sitcom until Missy told me the morning before we arrived, or, well, I guess, Look. Yes, when we get home I am very much looking forward to that talk, if you are. If you've moved on, well. Hush, Mindy interrupted as her eyes filled with tears. Me too. Me too. Mindy couldn't help herself any more than Mark could. They turned to face each other and kissed. It was like sugar melting in their mouths, and their arms gently embraced each other. They kissed too long, and finally both broke it off, knowing they could not and would not go further. As they separated, Mindy looked at Mark's smile, his eyes and his cute little nose. Beside her was the Mark she remembered. "There you are," she whispered. "There you are," Teddy Sanders said as Annie Montrose entered the conference room a few minutes late. "Sorry, I've been dealing with a shitstorm of calls about whether a high school girl in Hawaii noticed messages in Morse code around the Ars 3 hab that NASA somehow didn't notice in the last 4 or 5 months. What have you told them? That we would have an announcement shortly. Now, is it true, and how in the fuck did we miss it? You're such a delicate flower, Annie. Stuff it, Mitch. We missed it because the tech's checking to see if the sample areas are properly surveyed, and Doug were not looking for secret messages from a guy saying his goodbyes to the universe. Why would we? Venkat answered. So that's all true. What does it say? Annie demanded. It says a lot of things, in 2 to 3 foot high piles of rocks. Mark must have worked on it for a month. Kapoor answered as he slid a transcription to Annie. Oh Lord. Is this all? It's all the media has so far. I have Rachel Jameson in sitcom checking every stop they made on their trek for more. She has found a few but not many so far. They are very small as far as the size of the rock piles go. We think he was working in a hurry when traveling. The photos have been public, some of them for months, others for weeks. It's only a matter of time. What do those say? Oh, actually they are less, no. My favorite is the longest one she has found so far, still on Mars. That sucks. Sucks is spelled with an X, I guess because it was fewer rocks to stack. Did anyone authorize this? Annie asked as a stress headache began to kick in. No, but no one specifically banned it either, I suppose. So how do we handle it? Not sure. Can I get a secure line to Watney and Lewis? We can't have them getting asked about it by media at the next presser until we get the story straight. Until you showed me this, CNN knew more about it than I did. Annie asked. And what do we do about Watney? Venkat asked. Not much. It's not like we can fire him and send him home, is it? He is alive and already under a doctor's care, so there really isn't anything more we can do. Tell him to stop. Mitch pointed out. Maybe. Maybe not. Annie said. Back on Orion 3 the crew was in and unsuited, and the samples were stored. This took a significant amount of time as it included all the samples from the Ars 3 site, as well as those Lewis and Watney had picked up on their way. Missy was feeling the need for a shower after a day of burying plutonium and hauling rocks in, but the message traffic alert came before she could. Checking her tablet, Missy saw the message was coming from Houston on her personal channel, and assumed it was Bob, which was disappointing as she had already nixed any sexual fraternization, and not hearing from him in a while meant that he would piss her off more than enough to merit a grudge *CK. Guys, figure out dinner, I'm going to take this in the com, she said as she ascended the steps. A few minutes later Mark had just sat down with his crewmates for a dinner of rehydrated pepper steak and rice, which may have had parts that came from some sort of bovine, but no one could be certain, with an excellent chilled purple-red drink, when he heard Missy call. Watney. Get your ass up here. Now. Based on her tone, Mark didn't think this was for a grudge *CK. Lewis didn't sound very happy with him.